If you were to ask me what is today's plan for the video, well, honestly, I'm tempted for some shard pulls. We have a ×2 on Sacred, which gives us a boosted rate to try to get some legendaries, so that is exactly what we're gonna do. Hey you guys, it's Cece. Welcome back to my channel. As I mentioned, we've got a ×2 on Sacred Shards to get a legendary, but to also potentially get the targeted champion. ×10 chance from Sacred Shards. I don't know if it's going to happen. It is yet to happen. Now, this champ is from the Dwarves faction, and on this account, actually, if I go ahead, check out that faction, I'm kind of curious where I'm at with the Dwarves. I don't think I really have that many good ones. Actually, within the epics, I've been pretty lucky. I've gotten to Mytha, who is a great one, but I don't have Geomancer. That would be a great champ to actually get on here. Now, I don't have any legendaries out of this faction, so not necessarily a bad thing. Wouldn't necessarily mind actually pulling this champion. We'll see. So I do have 11 shards. We're going to go ahead and see what they actually give us today. If we can potentially get a legendary or get some epics that we don't have, somebody new, which starting off with one that we don't have, I honestly still think Shadowkin are really cool looking champs. Every character I pull from here, I feel like just so cool. So we have attacking an enemy with a 30% chance of placing a weakened debuff for 2 turns. Attacks all enemies with a chance of placing a leech debuff. 50% ally protection buff on all champs except this one for 2 turns, and fills the champion's turn meter by 50% with a block damage buff on this champ whenever their HP drops below 50%. Oh, okay. We'll see. I don't know. Is it a champ I'm like, I need to go build this? Not really, honestly, but a tour. So this champ, both being new so far, by the way, attacks an enemy with a 40% chance of placing Provoke. Provoke on the skill one is kind of nice, actually. Attacks 2 times, 50% chance of placing a Provoke. I will say Provoke is great because when I was doing some Doom Tower, there was certain floor where Provoke was kind of key and needed and very helpful. So I could see where that would be helpful. Now, this one heals this champion by 15% of their max HP and places a counter attack buff on this champ for 2 turns. When hit with a critical hit, immune to stun, freeze, and sleep debuffs only when Kalia is on the same team. Oh, we have a champ that needs a partner champ. I will say the Provokes are kind of nice. Am I going to build a champ just for the Provokes? I don't know. Steel Skull. I just got this actually on my other account, funnily enough. Funny enough. First skill, chance of placing some poison. Removes all buffs from a target and heals them by 40%. Increasing defense buff on all allies and heals them by 20% of their max HP. So supportive faction wars. I mean, anytime we see faction wars, that's a good thing. We can always use champs for faction wars. I would like to walk away with at least 1 legendary out of here today. Just throwing that out there, just saying. Ooh, Knight's Revenant. I don't have you on either account either. I kind of like that. I like getting champs that are different between my 2 accounts. It does let me get to build them, play around with them, and see kind of what I like. So we have a 20% chance of placing a Provoke. Apparently Provoke is the name of the game today, with a 50% decrease attack debuff for a turn if the target is under fear or true fear debuffs. Attacks all enemies with a chance of a heal reduction. Placing a shield buff on all allies for 2 turns, and a strengthen. And then immune to fear and true fear debuffs whenever an ally's HP, that's kind of nice, an ally's drops below 50%. Has a 50% chance of placing a fear debuff. Whenever an ally is killed, we have true fear debuff. Again, I don't know. If any of these champs I'm getting are like amazing, you guys need to tell me, let me know. But as I said, not jumping up and down for any of them yet. Another cool Shadowkin one. Attacks an enemy with a chance of placing a decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. Placing, I was gonna say, if this has Provoke in it, and it has Provoke in it, what? Shield buff on this champ for 2 turns equal to 25% of the max HP. Places a Provoke debuff for a turn if the target's max HP is equal or lower to this champ's. Provoke debuff cannot be resisted. Attacks an enemy will ignore 25% of the target's defense, will also ignore unkillable and block damage buffs. This champ will receive 25% less damage from enemy attacks when their HP drops below 50. I don't know. I'm getting a lot of Provoke. Why? Was I missing Provoke on this account? Was I needing more Provoke champions? Am I going to build any of these champs just for Provoke? And I've got her. I was just looking at her in, when I was showing you guys my dwarf. So attacks an enemy 2 times, will ignore shield buffs. And you guys have said she's good, kind of worth building. Attacks all enemies with a strengthen buff on all allies for 2 turns. Teams up with 2 random allies to attack a single enemy. That I do like. Grants an extra turn if they're killed. Counter attacks when hit while under a strengthen buff placed by this champ. So I could see a few places she's good. As you guys have said, she's a good champ. She is worth building. So, but I have her, so. And Deathless. Why are you giving me renegade vibes though? actually. So, oh, this is a big first skill. Attacks an enemy with a 70% chance of placing a decreased defense debuff for 2 turns if 1 or more allies are dead. 30% decreased speed buff if 2 or more allies are dead. Oh, 50% if 3... Interesting. Damage inflicted proportional to defense. Ooh, that's a weird build. Reflect damage buff on this champ for 2 turns. Has an 80% chance of placing a provoke debuff for a turn. What have I done that they think I need provoke on this account? It feels like it's been every champion. How does everyone have a provoke on them? That's crazy. Attacks all enemies. The attack will always be critical if there are 2 or more dead. So I want my allies to die is what you're saying. We essentially want them to be dead. A few different places we can use. Oh, Hydra. I'm curious. You guys have, what do you think? Also, why am I getting so many provoke, right? Any day. I was gonna say a legendary any day. If you provoke. No, what are the chances? No. I just pulled this champion on my other account. And honestly, you guys, it's not a champion that I'm like, I wish, like, it's not like a Thor where I'm like, I wish I had this on Cece. Wish I had this on both accounts. I have all the legendaries. And part of the reason I'm sad about it is because I like to build these champs. And when it's on my other accounts, it gives me a chance to build one, not worry about, you know what I mean? Like to highlight it. I'm not gonna build 2 of these. Well, I guess whichever account has better gear. This is the only legendary got on that account too. Attacks an enemy 2 times, a chance of decreasing the cooldown of a random ally's turn by skill by a turn. I can't even read it anymore. Now, if they had their cooldown reduced, decreased fills the ally's turn meter by 10%. We have removing all buffs from all debuffs from all allies. I literally cannot read. I'm flabbergasted. Can't remember the last time I've used that word, but essentially we can remove debuffs from allies. We will heal them and place a shield buff on them. We have a chance of increasing the duration of enemy debuffs and a chance of increasing the duration of ally buffs. Fills the turn meter of allies by 20%. And then we have this where the champion, it'll fill the turn meter whenever any of these debuffs are placed on an ally. And then if it removes, things will happen. Like, I really did not read this super well, but honestly, you guys, I cannot believe I got this champion on here too. I was so excited to see the legendary and low-key a little sad right after. I'm not even gonna lie. Revenant Drath is another really good epic. Fantastic. You have an chance of decreasing the attack debuff for 2 turns, a heal for everybody, and then placing a perfect fail buff. Also a continuous heal buff. We do have a revive as well in here. Really good champ. Use her quite a bit actually. Built her, I use her. Fantastic. 2 more shards. Another legendary, please, just to wash away the one that I wasn't crazy about. Oh, this one might be new, actually. Faction Wars, campaign, offense. Oh, what do you do? Okay. Attacks an enemy 2 times, destroy. I like that. Destroys the target's max HP by 10% for the damage inflicted. I do like that. Has a 75% chance of fully depleting the target's turn meter. Also kind of nice. Attacks all enemies, fills his champion turn meter by 15% and heals them by 15% of the damage inflicted if this attack is critical. If the champion has 2 or fewer buffs at the start of their turn, 50% increase attack buff, 30% increase crit damage buff on this champ for a turn. Ooh, I'm interested in this one actually. Pretty cool. Okay, last shard to go. Please be something different. A legendary. Why? It is like, I was like, it looks like a legendary. It has to be, right? It has to be a legendary. Thank goodness it is something different. I don't have this on either account. Vault Keeper Wixwell. Legendary defense type. Ooh, Faction Wars. Okay, we need to go ahead and see what Wixwell actually does. But what was that leg in him actually showing up? The suspense. The suspense, you guys, is crazy. But let's go ahead and take a look at these skills. First things first, taking a look at the aura, we have ally defense and battles by 28%. First skill, attacks an enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 40% chance of placing a provoke debuff for a turn. You guys, the provoke! I did say if it would get on a legendary, and it's on a skill 1. Now, if I was going to build a provoke champion, this is going to be the champion I'm going to build. Second skill, attacks all enemies with a 75% chance of placing a 50% decrease attack debuff for 2 turns. Will increase the duration of all ally buffs by turn. That's nice. Increases the value of all shields on all allies. The value of each shield is increased proportional to the total number of buffs which had their duration increased. Places 2 intercept stacks on a target ally. The intercept is huge. I do not have any champions that actually do intercept. Let me see. What does intercept? I have an idea of what it would do just based on the name, but like I said, I haven't had any champions. I haven't come across this. So an intercept buff will block any attempt to place a crowd control debuff on a champion. Oh, so it includes stun, sleep, freeze, provoke, fear, true fear, petrification, and sheep debuffs. Pretty cool. Like I said, I don't have any champions that do that, and it's 2 intercept stacks. also places 60% increased defense buff and shield buff on all allies for 2 turns. The value is proportional to this champion's defense. Very cool. And at the start of each round, places a counterattack buff on this champ for a turn. The buff cannot be removed. At the end of the turn, places counterattack buff. And the counterattack going into here. Ooh, okay. So looking at kind of like ratings, we see where this champ is actually good. And honestly, I'm kind of thinking the same way by looking at the champion and looking at the potential skills where this champ is actually going to shine, which is going to be like clan bosses. Just looking at between the intercept, we're having the buffs in here. We have the attacking, and also if they're a boss, the chance increases to 80% for the provoke in there. All of this. So definitely going to be a must build for me. I'm actually genuinely very, very excited for this. And like I said, I'm kind of glad it's something different than the other legendary. Now, I'm never going to be sad to get a legendary. As I may have seen with the other one, it's just because I have him and I literally just pulled him. But this one I am very excited about and can't wait to build. If you download Raid Shadow Legends using my link, I'm actually going to start you off with the free legendary champion on day 1. And then at level 10, level 20, and level 30, you'll get yourself an epic. That is 4 amazing champions that you can get just by downloading using my link. That's it for my shard pulls. Getting 2 legendary out of 11 shards is really good rates, and I'm super excited to actually go ahead and build Wixwell. Now, if you have any advice for me for either of these legendary champions, please comment that down below. And be sure you subscribe so you get to see what I end up doing with this champ. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!